and welcome to Real Opinions, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new Beauty and the Beast live-action remake thing. There is literally no point in me doing the usual plot synopsis introduction here, because it is the exact same story, albeit with a couple of bits of the background fleshed out a little bit more, and some of the characters are explored in slightly different ways, but the plot is identical to the cartoon. And I guess you could kind of employ the whole if it ain't broke, don't fix it attitude to this, and I kind of did. I know some people have got really kind of harsh with this film for not trying anything new. It does do new stuff in the sense that many remakes do. You know, it explores slightly different territory, it fleshes out certain characters in different ways, and it presents things slightly differently. But yes, the basic gist of the story is the same, but that's because that's what the story of Beauty and the Beast is. And I think if you just approach this as what it is, I think it is a great film. It's well cast, or at least 90% well cast. I'll get to that later. It mostly looks beautiful. There are a few moments where I felt the sets looked a bit artificial and stagey, but for the most part, it looks great. The story, being that it is the same as the cartoon, is an excellent story, and it's quite touching. The music is 90% great. And yeah, I think overall it is just a very pleasant and enjoyable film. You know, it has a head start because it is starting from such a strong foundation. But can you blame it for that? Like, what do you want it to do? Because I know that I'm in the minority here, but I thought that the Jungle Book remake, yes, it made a lot of changes. It did do what this film didn't do and tried to do something new, but I felt like it deproved from the cartoon in every single way. Whereas this film just knew what stuff to keep the same and what stuff to change. I think that Dan Stevens is excellent, because Dan Stevens is always excellent, and you could make the argument of, well, can you even tell it's Dan Stevens? He's just doing mocap for a big monster. But there are definitely mannerisms that, if you watch things like Legion obsessively like I do, you can tell where it is Dan Stevens' performance informing the CGI character. I think that Luke Evans is great as Gaston, and I think most of the supporting cast is brilliant. The only member of the cast the only two members of the cast that I really had a problem with were Emma Watson herself, who I just didn't find that believable in this. I didn't think she fit the era very well, and I felt like I was just watching Emma Watson, never the character. And also, I don't think that she's a good singer at all, which is fine, because obviously I've talked a lot about how La La Land is great because it embraces the imperfections of its performers, but this didn't do what La La Land did. La La Land sort of knew that Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone weren't professionals and played up to that. This film tries to cover up the fact that Emma Watson can't sing, and that didn't work as well for me. The other member of the cast I didn't like was Ewan McGregor, who is doing the most atrocious French accent imaginable, and I have no idea why, because no one else in the film is doing an accent. I don't know why he bothered to do it, because no one else is doing it, so just don't, because it is appalling. It is shocking. They let him keep that accent. He sounds I half expected him to start like saying your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries. It's so ridiculously over the top and cartoonish. But other than those casting foibles and a couple of the songs, I felt like the performances felt a bit stilted. For the most part, this is a really nice adaptation of the story. Onto the songs, which I also said were 90% there. Most are great. I think they do a really brilliant job with Be Our Guest. They really, really know how to stage that one. It's well choreographed, and it feels lively, and it's got energy. And that goes for most of them. There were a couple, however, where I felt like the fact that it was live action meant that it lost some of the charm that the cartoon had. I'm thinking mainly of actually the Gaston song, which in the cartoon it's very energetic, it's very kinetic, and here it just felt a bit stilted and awkward, and like because the characters cannot move in the way that the cartoon characters do, it just felt slow, I guess. And I don't know, it was just lacking the kind of power that it has in the cartoon. And generally, I think that is my other criticism, is that there are a few things that just don't work as well because they don't work as well in a live-action format. Like, the household objects look a little creepy because they're not they're not quite right. They look a bit uncanny. But yeah, honestly, the fact that this film doesn't change much does not bother me, because I didn't think that there was much to change. You could make the argument, why do it at all? And the obvious answer is money. But as someone who spent their money to watch it, I felt like it had the right emotional heft. I felt that it looked really nice, particularly in that Be Our Guest sequence, and also in the the ballroom dance sequence. Just looked lovely. It looked just lovely. There's some new added songs. One of them, which is a solo for the Beast, is actually quite a good song, and I genuinely enjoyed that addition. And yeah, it's just good. And I don't know, I didn't really expect much more than that. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think that it's groundbreaking or revolutionary. I don't think it's as good as the cartoon. But I do think that as far as these live action Disney films have gone, it's done a really strong, solid job. It ticks all of the right boxes. It only messes up on a couple of counts, and I would recommend it, especially if you do like the cartoon. I think you'll probably love this. Good villain, good lead in The Beast, not so much in Emma Watson, as I said. Decent screenplay. The additions are small, but they feel like they actually add something. They don't just feel like additions for the sake of it. I did like the new stuff, and yeah, it's just a well-made, enjoyable remake of something that probably didn't need to be remade. But what are you going to do? And I'd give it either a high 7 or maybe a low 8. Depends if we're going by actual quality or enjoyment value. But yeah, give it a shot. Give it a shot.